This video is going to have a body language reading in it, but it'll be towards the end of the video because I want to give some backstory first on all of this so it makes sense. If you're only interested in seeing the reading, I'll put up a timestamp on the screen for when it starts, and you can just skip over everything else. But with that being said, let's jump into the video. What's up guys, welcome back to another video where I criticize someone else's criticisms. On today's video, we're talking about Onision 2.0, aka social garbage. So do you guys remember when Brian Stars was a thing? Yeah, like that whole era of scene kits on YouTube? Well, I'm gonna be talking about two of them today. So Social Repose recently made a video on CrankThatFrank, and in Social Repose's video, he criticizes CrankThatFrank pretty harshly. I want to go over a few of the points that Richie made in his video, and like I said, just criticize his criticisms. But then I also want to touch on the last point of his video, where Social Repose basically insinuates that CrankThatFrank has been cheating on his girlfriend, which is really fucking ironic coming from Social Repose, seeing as his channel is literally dying because he cheated on Jacqueline Glenn. It happened over a year ago, but hey, I still feel terrible for Jacqueline. And it's clear to see that in the public's eye, as well as Jacqueline's eyes, Social Repose hasn't done anything to make it better. And so of course the dude is losing subs and he's losing friends like crazy. I mean, him and CrankThatFrank used to be friends. And it seems at this point the only way that Richie can stay relevant is by hating on other people, as seen in his Jesse Page video, which even the real Onision thought was fucked up. When Onion Boy can make a video about you and make himself look better in turn because of doing so, holy shit, you fucked up. Anyways, I digress. I'm just gonna watch this video and I'm gonna comment throughout it, and in the body language portion I'll take a look at both Richie and Frank discussing the cheating allegations, and I'll give you guys my opinion on what I think happened. Alright, let's do this.
But the first thing I want to talk about, and arguably the biggest problem I have with this content, is his relentless audience pandering. And let me start off by saying there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a massive fan of an artist or band or what have you. There's nothing wrong with being a super fan of an artist or band, or a stan. And obviously, if you are familiar at all with Frank's content, he takes the super fan and he is the embodiment of it. He is the super fan.
Which way is east?
East is up.
And like I said, that's fine. Until I start seeing patterns in his behavior that make me feel like it's more a ploy in audience pandering and to try to seem relevant to his viewers, or to find things to relate to with his viewers, as opposed to actually being head over heels for these bands. And in order to show you what tipped me off about how this started and how I kind of started questioning how genuine he's being with his audience, and how if it's just a facade he's putting up just to be like, yeah, I like this band too because they're really big and popular, not because I give a shit, you kind of have to do a deep dive into his channel history, because like me, he's been making videos forever. And it all starts about 3 or 4 years ago, about when I was collabing with him, or before that, because I remember he was super into Dan and Phil.
But I realized I was fan trash when I did that, and it was like hours later I would wipe the sweat off of myself and take a break and just be like, I just read hours of stuff about Dan and Phil and Fan is Real, and I would just, yeah.
He did that for a while, but then I remember all of the sudden Dan and Phil just kind of vanished from his channel. He kind of scrubbed their name, what felt like overnight, but it could have been a slower phase, but it felt like overnight. But in my head, that's a YouTuber translation for Dan and Phil's relevance has been waning, therefore my relevance is waning, therefore I need to find something else to latch onto in order to survive.
So here's the thing. Frank isn't obligated to continue to like any YouTuber or band regardless. You know, usually artists and creators in general run their course, and sometimes feelings for certain interests fade. I remember when I first started YouTube, all I talked about were small pop punk bands like The Story So Far and Neck Deep. And over the years, I've just found myself not talking about them as much anymore and talking about people like Mac Miller or Joji. And that's not to say that I don't love pop punk music any less. Just because I don't make videos about them anymore doesn't mean anything. People are allowed to grow their content and grow as a channel. Like, if the only videos that Frank ever posted were about Dan and Phil, of course he'd lose subscribers and relevance. That was a terrible argument.
Now, another thing I wanted to go over, this isn't as bad, but I saw it pop up and I can't just not talk about it. CrankThatFrank and his girlfriend Eva are on tour.
A family-friendly alternative tour!
I think they're on tour right now, but they're doing a brief tour, and while this isn't uncommon for YouTubers to do tours, I mean, it's practically commonplace. If you get popular, get at least 500,000 subs, you go on tour, you make that money. You go to the site and you look at the prices. Oh boy. A regular ticket is 30 bucks. That's normal, no problem. But a separate meet and greet, $10 more. Also pretty reasonable. Then there's the VIP experience, which is $76, and the crazy one, the all access experience admission, $200.
And it might just be me because I really haven't done too much research on this, but from what I've seen from going to a million different concerts over the years, is that meet and greets are always expensive. I mean, whenever I was buying tickets for the Head in the Clouds tour, a singular ticket to meet Rich Brian and take a photo with him was $200. And I'm pretty sure that meet and greet tickets are normally always going to be that expensive regardless of the relevance or talent that you may have. But as far as this argument goes, it's also pretty shitty and doesn't make any sense. Why would you dislike someone for that? Oof, but here's a throwback if I ever heard of one. You guys remember whenever Kellen Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens was charging people $80 for a Polaroid picture with him? Everybody was pissed off about it, and it started this whole big trend of people naming things that you could do with $80 that was better than taking a photo with Kellen Quinn. Oh my god, good times.
Here is the real reason, or at least the main reason what pushed me to make this video. I'm not gonna pretend like Frank and I were best buds. We would see each other maybe once every 6 months at conventions. He lived on the same side of the country as I did. We would collab every so often. It was pretty casual, it was very friendly. We had a fair amount in common. So when it came out that I had cheated on my girlfriend a year ago, and it became a very big public ordeal, he had this to say to his fans on his live stream.
Ashlyn Jade 101 says, "How do you feel about the Richie situation?" Let's talk about that. Absolutely disgusting, horrible. I cannot believe he did that to Jacqueline. I am in any capacity, I am no longer associated with Richie, Social Repose. I'm so disappointed in him. And it's making me very angry talking about this.
And of course he was met with universal praise from his audience, from my ex-girlfriend, from everyone that was watching, but I wonder if they would feel the same if they knew how he treated his girlfriend Eva. Frank hasn't always been faithful with his girlfriend over his lengthy relationship with her. Frank has dangled financial obligations over her head when he knew damn well that she couldn't support herself on her own. Eva even explained at the last Playlist Live, when we were all still in speaking terms, how she was afraid to leave Frank because she was terrified that he would turn his audience against her and she would have nothing left, and she felt incredibly trapped.
Yeah, so those are some pretty heavy claims. I don't think it's a secret that the way Richie is speaking during this part of the video versus the first part of the video is incredibly different, and it's so interesting to see the movements that he makes whenever he's talking about petty grievances between himself and Frank as opposed to something like this. It's really not normal for someone's behavior to switch up this drastically. And Jacqueline Glenn said it herself in her video about their breakup that Richie has a tendency to shut down and become very robotic when it comes to situations where he knows he's in the wrong and he knows he's not telling the truth. At a time like this, especially with a topic this sensitive, you'd think Richie would feel some sort of emotion or access some sort of memory, at least when talking about Eva, but he doesn't break eye contact or show signs of stress, and it leads me to believe that he might be trying to seem intimidating. The only time that he visibly scans his brain for anything is when he says, "if they knew."
And of course he was met with universal praise from his audience, from my ex-girlfriend, from everyone that was watching, but I wonder if they would feel the same if they knew how he treated his girlfriend Eva.
But the pauses after that, before with his girlfriend and dangled financial obligations over her head.
Frank hasn't always been faithful with his girlfriend over his lengthy relationship with her. Frank has dangled financial obligations over her head when he knew damn well that she couldn't support herself on her own.
Imply to me that he's trying to get some sort of story in order and he's failing to do it. I also never really pay attention to Richie's mouth when he speaks because, like, why would I? But when I watch this, I don't know if it's just me, but I see a slight grin forming, and if you add that in with the rest of the tells, it could completely be a duping delight smile trying to crack its way through. But what I want to do is watch Frank's response to this and break it down and kind of judge myself who I think is more believable. In my honest opinion, regardless of whether or not I like Richie, there's something about him that seems really off to me, and I can't be the only one. But for now, let's just look at Frank's video.
Hi guys, this video is going to be different than normal. Very apparent, you may have heard some allegations by a certain YouTuber that I don't want to give the satisfaction of having their name come out of my mouth. I'm going to address this video to you, my audience. That's all that matters to me, okay? If you want to critique my content, if you want to critique my content of character, or say I'm ingenuine, or I hop on bandwagons and all of this other stuff, sure, cool, go believe that. If any other YouTuber made a video like that on me, I would refute every single point. But this is what I want to focus on. How dare you? Towards the end of this person's video, it goes on for about 5 minutes. They flat out made an accusation that I've cheated on Eva. Eva, the love of my life, the girl that's been with me since before YouTube even started, the girl that I've built my entire life with, and they have absolutely no basis and no ground to stand on at all. They just said it. And I will absolutely not let that stand.
It's clear that Frank is getting very emotional. It shows in his tone of voice and in his body language. I don't want to say that just because he's showing emotion means he's innocent, but when you compare his argument to Richie's, it definitely seems a lot more real and heartfelt. The pauses he makes seem to flow. He'll pause whenever he gets overwhelmed emotionally, and he does stop himself from going too hard on Richie, I'm assuming because his audience is younger and he prides himself on having a family-friendly channel.
It goes on for about 5 minutes. They flat out made an accusation that I've cheated on Eva. Eva.
His body is singing with him, and I can visibly see him scan the emotional side of his brain as he walks us through his side of the story. And I know I cut a lot of it out, but you should really see the way that he talks about Eva. Like, you can tell he cares about her.
All of those things that you said Eva said, like I dangle some kind of financial string or whatever you said in front of her and she's scared that she has no place to live, is completely baseless. You've never even spoken to her privately. When have you spoken to Eva privately? I'm sure Eva will have something to say about this as well, and I will link to that video in the description for everyone to see. And I don't like getting into YouTube drama, you know? But sometimes it calls for it, and sometimes it's more than just YouTube drama. You're getting to a sickening point, a very disgusting point, and you need help.
Without harping too much on him though, because I know someone in the comments is waiting to call me out for being biased, I want to transition into my strict opinion on the subject after briefly reading the two. I personally think that Richie's attack on Frank's character was definitely bullying. I didn't know anything about Frank coming into this video, but I left feeling as though he's a genuine person. Frank might not make the content that I'm interested in watching, but if you're into the alternative scene and you're looking for someone respectable to sub to that talks about music, Frank may just be your guy. It's honestly really sad that Social Repose has been going on a tirade recently, trying to attack multiple YouTubers out of nowhere, and I truly do think that Richie is projecting his insecurities and self-hate onto others to make himself feel better. I feel horrible and incredibly sorry for Frank, Eva, as well as Jesse Page and Jacqueline Glenn for all of the bullshit that Richie has put them through recently. They don't deserve it. I think that taking a break from YouTube would be best for Richie right now. But that's really all I have to say about this topic. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and for supporting my channel. I'm really about to hit 100,000 subscribers, and that's just fucking insane to me. I really can't thank you guys enough for how much love and support you've shown my channel over the past year. You guys have allowed me this platform to where I can just vent and talk shit and really connect with you guys, and I've made a lot of friends through YouTube, and it's just crazy to see how much my channel has grown within the past couple of months. But yeah, enough of me being mushy. I love you guys so much. I will catch you on the next video.